we have the first round of the 6 mock debate tournament. We have Therapist and MootVerick. Since it's the first round of the tournament, it's going to be a 40-minute debate. If one of the debaters has not conceded, then we will be cutting it off at 40 minutes, and we will be putting it to a voting poll. For this mock debate, Therapist is defending that wealth should be capped, and MootVerick is taking the opposition. I would ask that only 75% of, only people that have been here for 75% of the debate should be voting. So if you only stick around for just like a little chunk of it, then I just ask that you please do not vote. And with that, thank you both for debating. You can get started.
Okay, so I'd like to first ask you a question, MootVerick, to define wealth. I'd like to define wealth in this scenario as money. Are you okay with that?
It's still too vague. I think the proposition itself is a bit vague. I would define wealth as income, like yearly or monthly, annual income.
Yeah, so money. So basically money, right? Wealth.
Yeah, it does not like most people conflate wealth with shareholders, like what's the total wealth of Jeff Bezos, for example, and I think that's a bit disingenuous.
But still, it's money. It's about money at core.
Yeah, it's money, not the total amount of share or capital you own.
Okay, good. So my first argument is since the debate proposition is since I'm defending that that wealth should be capped, I could set that cap to anywhere pretty much. I could set it to $100 billion, or I could set it to $100,000, or $1 million. So that's something that would be good. And because it's good, it would the if you cap the money each one can have, the inflation it will decrease, and that means the money that is still in course can be put into other people's pockets. And the other point is no, I think I'll leave it with that as my opening statement. That the wealth can be put if going off the proposition that we can put that cap anywhere.
Like anywhere is a bit vague. Like at least pick a higher number, such as for example, like no one can be a millionaire or billionaire or something. Like 100,000 a bit absurd actually.
Yeah, sure, but you
But
see, that's the argument that you can, since the proposition says that wealth should be capped, that cap can be anywhere. So we can, since you're opposing that, if I say the cap is $1 trillion, how can you argue to cap that? Or if it's only a mere $10,000?
um, mm, so I will like propose a hypothetical example. Um, I think that there are two main like I'm doing my own opening statement. Okay, like I'm not
Yeah,
responding
sure.
to you directly. So there, I think there are like two or three main arguments for like putting this wealth cap. One is like it will decrease inequality. It will like increase economic efficiency. It will like prevent people from like rioting up, and like it's like a consequentialist argument. I think Rawls makes this. Um, that if we don't decrease inequality, then people are going to riot and like there'll be a lot of destruction of capital and stuff. So it is beneficial for government to do it itself. Like so for example, like caring about equality. Like let's imagine a hypothetical scenario. There is an island. There are two people, A and B, and A just stumbles upon a diamond. Okay, like he did not earn it. Like he just stumbles across it, and it's just morally arbitrary, as Rawls would put it. But there does not seem to be any prima facie reason why if A stumbled across this diamond, he has an obligation to give half of its value to B, or that B can coerce A to give him a half of his value. Like it would be clearly immoral if A goes and like threatens to punch him, if like if you don't give me the half of the diamond, I'm going to punch you or something. Like that's clearly immoral, and that's essentially what's happening in this particular case. For example, government, for to have any particular policy, must have some coercive force, and it's not just coercive, it has to be like lethal force at the end. For because every law government issues at the end must have some kind of lethal backing, otherwise people might simply opt out of that law. For example, if there is a law against like driving a car without a license, like government can say like you can no longer drive the car, like we are going to reject your license. And if even if I keep driving, at some point he will say like you are under arrest or something. And if I resist, like they will use violence, and if I resist enough hard, they will like eventually have to kill me because there's no other way. So every government action has like some kind of lethal backing of force, lethal force, backing of lethal force. So that requires a moral justification, and egalitarianism is not strong enough justification. The second argument is usually that consequence on the consequential basis that people are going to rise up, and the poor people, if there's too much inequality, poor people are going to rise up and destroy this wealth. Actually, most people have no idea that how much inequality, like statistics of inequality. So the amount of inequality in the world actually has decreased on the long term, like on the global scale, simply because China went more free market, India become less more markety than it was before. So the total amount of global inequality is decreased. But most people have no idea about it. Most people are not very educated on statistics and stuff. Most people don't even know anything about politics or economics except who their president is. Like it's not a controversial fact. Most voters don't have any idea. So perhaps talking about inequality is creating the problem. Like if that people would not revolt if you did not stimulate them. Like there's inequality, there's a problem with inequality. Perhaps it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And there's like really no reason, there's no reason to believe that um, if you like do this wealth capping and stuff, like people are not going to revolt. So like that's a very controversial assumption that people are going to revolt after this. Like third, like there's a bit more sophisticated economic argument. So I think many economists such as Krugman and Peikoff, I'm not sure about the NEEPs. I have heard some economists make that. There are two arguments. First, that because rich people spend too much, so poor people try to act like rich people, and like they start spending too much, and which is not good for them. So like there is too much spending in the economy when people should be saving. Um, these problems can be saved like relatively easy by stop reducing government which the government like encourage people to spend, encourage people to spend money instead of saving. For example, social security, like it clearly encourage people to spend rather than save. So like decreasing social security will be much better way to make poor people to save money than to like have this wealth capping and stuff, because it's much controversial premise that if people poor rich people start to spend less, then somehow like poor people are going to it's a lot more psychology and stuff. The second argument is that there is going to be, if we do this wealth capping, then there's going to be more savings. Like first the argument that there was too much, like their first the argument was that too little saving. Now the argument is that there's too much saving by the rich. um, like this is the argument that hoarding is, like this is Keynesian. They usually argue that hoarding is problem with thrift, and something you have to stimulate the economy, and like hoarding money actually damages the economy and creates business cycles. Now macroeconomics is highly controversial. So like even if we grant that, then there are much better ways than to like have this wealth capping and stuff. which is to like simply have monetary and fiscal policy. Like that's much more simpler than like wealth capping. And I don't think most people want to like make this argument, simply because when people like arguing that wealth should be capped, they are talking about spending. That is, wealth, poor, rich people are like living in this mansion and stuff, and the Keynesian will have to say that no, it's a good thing they are spending that money. They are not like keeping it with them. So I don't think most people really want to make this argument that rich people should live lavishly and not save. So this is it. Like okay, so for another argument is that democracy, like income inequality, somehow conflicts with democracy. Um, so if people have more power, rich people are going to have more influence. Even then, like there's no reason to believe that democracy in and of itself is like desirable. Like it's instrumentally desirable, but it is not inherently desirable. For example, like you go into with your friends, like in a restaurant or something, and you are too busy, and at the when bill comes, like people say who is going to pay the bill, and like someone suggests that you should pay the bill, and this is like you don't want to spend that much money, so you say no, I don't want to pay the bill. So they have a vote, and it turns out they accept you. Everybody wants you to pay the bill. Now, do you have an obligation to pay the bill, like just because other people have more, there are more number of people who want you to pay the bill? Can these people coerce you by the threat of violence? For example, can they say, like, would it be moral for them to say that we are going to like lock you in the basement if you're not going to pay the bill? Like that's clearly immoral. I don't think there are many people who argue that like it is immoral. Moral, sorry. Uh, so, like, democracy is not inherently desirable. It has instrumental value, but it has no inherent value. Now, on the instrumental value case, rich people actually tend to be like more poor people are more likely to be war hawks. Like, they are more likely to like be aggressive in like war and stuff. And there is a book by a Democrat. Uh, it's wait a second, uh, I'll give the name. Okay. Uh, where it is? Yeah, this is it. Affluence and influence of economic inequality and political power in America. So this is written actually by a Democrat, and like he find that the most democratic president was Bush. So like I don't think most people who say like we want more democracy actually would like the result of democracy. Um, so this I think if you have any other argument, please let me.
So first of all, I haven't heard anything specific and completely true to the proposition that we shouldn't cap wealth. Also, it doesn't need to end in violence if you keep doing stuff that you shouldn't, like keep driving and stuff. That it will not end in killing. It will end in you being put in prison. And the signal, and now to my counter argument to all this. Capping money means more equality, and there is less inequality than without, because the rich people only have that much money. So I will now set for one case only. This is not for always. As a example, let's say the wealth cap is $5 million. Then these $5 million, that's what the richest people can have. That's just how it is. That means everyone in that country can only acquire a wealth of $5 million. That means they can't get more. Means at one point they want to have stuff. That's where choice needs, that's where feelings come. Well, I want to have that. I want to have that. Okay, now I lost some money. I want to have that cap back, so I'll go earn some money. Also, that means that other people will drive more to that cap because they know everyone can acquire that wealth. Anyone. You don't have. It's a simple way to success. And there are a lot of ways to go to that success. You can do it dirty. You can do it clean. If you do it smart, you can do it clean. You can also do it smart, but you can also do it dirty. But just at core, you can't you can't say it's unequal. Also, there is a lot of benefit in the economy if you cap wealth. Um, Also, I think it's more if you went into its psychological, it has a psychological effect. Yes, it does because poor people will then know, oh, okay, the rich people can only have so much, so I'm okay where I am because if there's no cap, then people will. If let's take Jeff Bezos as an example with his I don't know how much. A poor guy will say, "Oh shit, he has so much," and he will keep growing. But if we now put that limit, if we put that cap on, and that person sees, oh, he can only have that much. Okay, I'm in a better state of mind. And also, you see a lot of benefit everywhere in capping wealth. So what you mostly said did not directly say that we shouldn't cap money. And if possible, could you give like a direct answer or explanation why we shouldn't cap wealth
Okay, so
in
fair
in,
enough.
in
I should have like emphasized my point more. Uh, the problem is not that government is going to like it will inevitably lead to violence. It's just that it is a threat of violence. Like, because if I do not cooperate, eventually they will have to use lethal force. Like, for example, if they start like
no.
coming to us, and if I start defending it, okay, if there is not, like,
You
if
don't you
if
don't have
it
to
does
use
not,
lethal force. I can
okay,
use force that will immobilize you and put you into prison. That's all I have to do.
if
Lethal
if
force
I resist,
is a
if I
choice.
resist, that is, if I resist, that is, if I start resisting your attempts to arrest me, for example, if I use self-defense, for example, to so that you don't come into my house and take my stuff, like it will have to. Uh, for example, if anybody else other than policemen did what government agents did, for example, if I go around, I think that this is the particular level of like wealth people should have, and other than is like we should not have other over than this, for like any reason I have. It does not have to be bad reason; it can be a good reason. And if I go out and like say that, like use the same technique as policemen, that if I go around knock people, say, hey, you have to like pay this, you have more money than this, and like you have to pay up. I don't think most people think my behavior is moral.
Okay.
Regarding my, okay, regarding my not giving like a proper like argument for against it. My argument is simple. Making like these laws for wild capping laws requires a threat of use of violence. Threat of use of violence is prima facie wrong, immoral. Therefore, we should not have these laws. As
Okay.
simple as.
I disagree completely with that. You don't need any fucking violence because we can say if you go over that cap, you will be taken away all your money and you'll start by zero, and that money
Uh,
can be taken and put in some way that benefited the society. So going, let's say somebody went over that and we say, okay, oh, we'll send the police. That police guy is not forced. It is a choice, but then that's the issue of the police guy if he uses lethal force, which is taught you shouldn't do at core. Basta with that. Now, if let's say that policeman goes, knocks at your door, says, we keep an overview of your bank, of your portfolio. You have overstepped that. We were so the policeman would not arrest them, even though he might. He will just need to explain, hey, dude, we're gonna take that overflow of money that you have, and we will take that from you because it succeeds the level, it succeeds the wealth cap, and that can be put into projects benefiting that society. So you don't there is no need for violence, and there is no guarantee that there will be violence, so that argument of yours has been nullified.
If you think that, uh, I don't know, it's like it's not at all controversial that government agents have to use violence to like enforce their laws. That's why I can't go around and act as if I was a policeman. Like, just imagine, like, if I wear like a fancy uniform and do exactly what a policeman does, right? Um, it will not be accepted anywhere. And
Wait,
regarding,
so you're
okay, okay,
saying
wait a
that
second,
a
wait a
normal
second,
person does as a
wait
policeman?
a second, wait a second. Um, Regarding your argument that it does not have to resort to violence, okay, all laws have like a punishment. Like if you break a law, you like any law have some punishment, like at least theoretically, and government makes like a sufficient argument, sufficient effort to like punish you. Like regarding simply like we are going to just confiscate your wealth and not like harm you or something. Um, the problem is that it will violate your rights. It's not just violence. So when you confiscate the wealth which I earn through like without force or fraud, um, like it's my rightfully acquired wealth. And if somebody else other than government agent did the same thing, if I, for example, if I go out in your house, like break into your door and I did not harm you, but of course, like if you're going to come and like charge at me, so that like stop like taking my wealth and like stop me, I will have to like harm you, because that's how I will have to stop you. But
Yeah,
let's say I did not. I have a magic machine. I have a
but
magic machine that
you're
stops
going
time and
you're going off that a normal person would do that. In that, what I'm talking about is a policeman not doing any any police force, and
no,
if
but
it,
not
it will
brutality.
not it will not violate direct your rights, because even though it is your own acquired cap, that cap is defined by that country's law, and you're living in that country, you are a resident of that country, so you will have to abide by those laws. Also, saying as making a good punishment will put you on the mindset, so, oh, I don't want to go over that. So, and also a good argument on that point is, if you don't want to overgo that, if you don't want to succeed that cap, you will be spending money, you will be you'll be invited to spend money.
Um, for the first argument was that people like these are laws and like people have to like, of course they have to
My
obey
phone
those
just
laws.
cut out.
No argument was
It
actually given why
my
people
phone
should
cut
obey
out.
those laws and why. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're gonna be punished, and if the punishment is goodly chosen, you will think about if you want to if you want to if you want to succeed that cap. Let's say if I succeed that cap, and I know the punishment is not good for me, it will take away my wealth, or it will do something. Um, you will be invited to spend money. That is good for the economy, because it depends on you making money and paying money. It goes in flow. And also, if you have that cap, you only have, and your money value will go up. There's going to be less inflation. So having a cap is something good. And I haven't heard any argument from you that directly says we shouldn't cap because it's a bad thing. It would cause harm. I haven't heard that, and the things I have heard from you have um I've argumented those, and I've argumented them unusable.
Of course, I disagree about those, right? Like, you can't just say that you have argumented and like, you,
Well,
okay,
I see
okay,
it like
okay.
that.
Like you can't, okay. Regarding, for example, like macroeconomics is quite complicated, and I don't think anyone should have like pretty strong beliefs about macro, like pretty high confident beliefs about macroeconomics. But anyway, like regarding like spending in on itself is not good. Like it's the hoarding which is bad. Investing, like just saving is not inherently bad. um, for example, let's say I'm on like I have to like explain like basic economics, but like say you have island, like you have to you can only purchase some number of some a day, and like you can make this device like nets or something by which you can catch more fishes than you would have been. But if you start working on this net, you will like you can't, because you will starve to that. So you started saving, like like each day you like you reduce your time preference, like you prefer future consumption earlier than present consumption. The and this way you can have more wealth more early. The problem with um, the problem with taxation or any kind of violation of property rights is it's going to increase this time preference. People are going to consume more, save less, invest less. uh, on that, regarding the law, like it's um, like why should, like regarding like there should be punishment. That's my point. Like if you're going to have punishment, you have to use violence, at least some amount of violence. And
No,
if
you
I
don't.
go around, like how am I going to punish someone? Like if I
That's
say like jail,
if I
like
just yes, not
okay,
using
okay,
violence is
okay,
harming someone physically. I don't have to harm you physically to give you a punishment. I can give you a punishment in sending you in a timeout. I'm not using violence on you. You
okay,
said
okay, 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 okay. uh, um okay, if like you have still did not respond to my argument that if I go around and dressed as policeman, if I go around and dressed as a policeman, if I did the same thing, that most people would not consider those things more. Even if I like don't harm anyone and just take their wealth and like confiscate their wealth, I don't think most people are going to like it very much. That's called robbery actually, and most people think uh, it's like a
um,
very bad crime. Regarding, you said that it's the law. So like from where this authority of the law comes from? Like that's the question. Like
government,
why should you be
the
entitled?
government,
Like how does government have this authority which I don't? Why does government have these special privileges, like to do things which other private agencies can't? Why I can't go and confiscate their wealth, but policemen can? Right, that's my
because
question.
they work for the government. So to
Uh,
that
that's circular reasoning.
I'd like to finish that just quick, so maybe that solves a question of yours. So first of all, just a question that you can answer then. How do you come on the idea that someone would dress up as a policeman and try to do a policeman's job? Saying, well, that's a simple thing. Policemen work for the government. They're
Um,
they're under the direct authority of the government. So that means they and the policemen. I'll give a perfect example for that. If you succeed that limit, that cap, also you're invited to spend. If you reach that cap, you are spent. If there's a punishment for you are invited to spend that money, so you stay under that cap. Also, if you're at the bottom, it will say, okay, I might want to save up money, but I also need to spend. There's always the need to spend money to survive, to get food, to get water or liquid. And
like
now,
if there
to that example of the policeman. So let's say an official policeman, and say let's say there's a severe punishment for people pretending to be a policeman. That policeman can have a badge, an official badge that says, "I have the right as a policeman because I am under the direct authority of the government." So I'm representing the government at that point. So that government representative will call a policeman, can knock on your door and tell you friendly, let's say that society and that country is very friendly, he can knock on your door and say, hey, you succeeded your wealth cap, we will just take your wealth, the overflow of wealth, and we can put it in something nice. We'll put it in something beneficial for all of for the country, for everyone. That's in everyone's interest. So I don't see a violation. I don't see a problem with just taking away. And also, if you be rude, that can lead into a fine, that can lead into a punishment, a money punishment. There's no requirement to send you in prison, and there's no need for violence. Violence is something, if violence is harming you physically or mentally, but I do not see how such a punishment in that society will cause any severe violence or damage mentally, or it won't even physically, because there is no need for that. And also, if a policeman, an official, a representative of the government will do you harm, you can still go to court and you can sue them, and then you can get something for that. That can be everything. That can all be systematically put right down, written down. That can be the constitution of that country. That works.
Um, uh, from where do I start?
10 minutes left.
Uh, like, okay, I forgot. Like, I just have like, I just froze.
Yeah,
Um,
all good.
okay, so you said that like you still haven't it's not going necessarily going to benefit everyone. Like you do understand that, like, yeah, they are welcome to spend, but they don't have to spend. Like how are they going to like force people? Like how do you know that people are going to spend instead of like just not working
because
enough? Like I
because
don't think
you will have to
you should.
work. You will have to work because you have to work. That means you make money. Means I will always make more money. And you there is law that can say you have to work. That means
Yeah,
you
wait a second, wait a
that
second. Like
that
if there is a
indirectly
law,
forces
you
you.
have to work. Like if you have a law, right, you have to work. Like I just don't see like I can. Like I just don't see how going to enforce these laws. Like you can have like a piece of paper and say like people have to work. Okay, okay. How are you going to enforce these laws? And regarding like they are
Uh,
government agents, what makes government agents what from where I can also label myself as the government agent. I can also have put a badge like I am the government. Like what makes government have moral authority? Like that's my question. Like you are just dodging that question. Like from where this authority comes from? Like I can't do it. Why can they can? If I label myself a government, I can't rule people. I can't go around and say like you have reached a wealth level cap, and I'm going to like take your money. Um, and the second thing, without you defined violence as like harming people physically or psychologically, mentally. If I say I took all your money or all your wealth, am I harming you? Like, does a robber harm his victim? I don't think these things are very controversial. Of course, robber harms his victim.
Yeah, but that's a choice. And also, you say that everyone can be a government official or a government one. That's the government. That's the leading of the country. That means they have authority over the people who live in that country. That's just how it is. You can't question that. And if not, then that's not a that's fundamentally a wrong, and fundamentally doesn't work. And you can't just say that's how you enforce law. That's what we have. We have policemen. We have policemen. These policemen enforce the laws, meaning they go on patrols. They keep an eye out. So if you, a normal citizen, that's where the difference is. They are working for the authority that is the government, which has control over the country, indirectly over you. And also, you will still be invited. And also, there is no harm directly if, like I stated, if that country is a very nice country where you live, and it just takes away the overflow that you have on money, and a little bit more. Let's say we'll take 20% of the basic cap and the overflow. It it will it will go to something beneficial for the whole country. That is that. So So at the core, the proposition is that that capping wealth, that we should cap wealth, it's beneficial. So there isn't any argument. There's no any strong argument if there's benefit to it, why we shouldn't adapt it in a society which works around that principle that there is a wealth cap.
I will again say like it's controversial whether or not wealth cap will going to benefit society. Uh, I don't know how from where your confidence comes from that wealth cap will necessarily benefit society. It may not. There is no reason to have such a high confidence that wealth cap is going to increase wealth. I think there is a reasons. There are arguments against it. I think it will increase time preference. People are going to consume more and save less, invest less. People are not going to work as much they otherwise would. And you still haven't given any argument why government is special. You said yeah, it is a special and full stop. That's not a very convincing argument. For example, if someone say that God exists because it exists, it does not require argument. There's a reason why people make arguments for stuff for which other people don't agree with. You can't just say it it is therefore it is. That's not a very convincing argument. And regarding, are you saying that without police there will be chaos or something? Are you making some argument that policemen offer jobs and protect people? So in that, are you saying that without police there will be less um, welfare of people?
I didn't understand that last part, but I'll try to navigate from what I heard. Police, we don't have to call that police. We can call it law enforcement or whatever. And these people can be trained. It is all something up to debate, and it's all up. Sure. And but the thing, back to that point that you're saying of God, and that I'm saying that it is like that. Government is what leads a country. That's just how it is. Russia has a government, America has a government, Switzerland has a government, Germany has a government, India has a
So
government. That's
Somalia,
that's how that's how you lead a
Somalia.
country.
There are many countries which don't have a government. Somalia, for example, there is
Does it work?
there and Somalia,
Is it a
isolating.
functioning country?
Of course, it's not a country if you define country as something which has a
No, no, no.
government.
I meant is it a working country? Is it
Um,
a country
Actually,
that
there is
works? No, it's not.
okay.
Somalia does
Okay.
not work.
There is a paper by Peter L. Leeson. Peter, I think it's Peter Leeson. You should read that. It says that after the collapse of government, Somalia's economic growth actually increased. So there is and there are various economists defending that government services can be provided privately. Um, for example, protection and stuff can be provided privately. Like David Friedman, Peter Ellison, Brian Kaplan, um, Anthony DJC. And there are various economists to defend that we can have things such as protection and stuff through private markets. It's plausible we can have. They are not saying that if we approve the government now that we are going to be better off. They're saying that it's plausible that in some circumstances, government may not be privatized government may be more beneficial than government um, how do I say it's the government jobs of government perhaps should be privatized. So it's not at all obvious. I'm not convinced that without government there will be chaos. I think it's possible. And for example, even if there is, it still does not give it still does not give government to have things such as wealth capping. For example, I think you're making a lifeboat like argument. If people were in lifeboat and if I had and people were because of some reason, unless I threaten them, they're unless I do violate their rights, they are not going to we are all going to drown or something. I think you are making it's something implicit in your argument that without government, we are going to suffer from severe loss. Even if it's true, it only it like we are not. Even if it's true, then government can only do things which Where
I'd like
prevent
to
the
say
city
something
box.
quick before the debate's finished because we have 1 minute left. Government keeps everything working. It keeps everything under control because without a government, there would be chaos because you need a leadership in that country. We can call it whatever we want. We can call it government. We can call it a dictatorship. We can call it a monarchy. That's 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 still a government because government is a term that someone says the leader.
Okay, even if it's true, it does not. Okay,
You can go first, MootVerick.
okay. So even if it's true, okay, not so it's supposed to be closing still, but whatever. Even if it's true that there will be chaos without government, like imagine a lifeboat, like people are going to drown if I don't like threaten them, like violate their rights. uh, for example, like there's a boat and there's like people are not willing to like push those boat, like paddle, like row those boats, and there's like something like cyclone coming, and I really want them, otherwise we are all going to drown. So I like put up my gun and like threaten them to violate their rights that I'm going to harm you if you like don't if I'm not going to work. Even if that the case, it still does not justify things other than which is necessary. Uh, okay, I cut out, I think. So even if it's true, right, it still does not justify doing things other than which will threaten the survival of the group. For example, I still, even though I can like threaten them to work, I still can't say like, hey, give me your money. Like, hey, you have a diamond pearl. I think you have too much money, and therefore we should redistribute it. Like, it still can't do that. Like, even if it's true that government keep us afloat, it still does not give us justified to do things which does not necessarily lead us to drown if it were not to do those things. So thank you.
Yeah. So okay. I'm still of the opinion that you haven't made a excellent argument that says that we shouldn't cap wealth. And I'm still of the opinion, and I know that capping wealth is beneficial. And you said that just quick on that lifeboat situation. It's in everyone's interest to survive. So I can take that also into my example of government. Everyone wants to survive, and we say we put that system of cap in. Um, that could be in the interest of survival. So yeah, and for the listeners who played close attention, I think I've made my arguments clear, and I like to mention out that my opponent still has, in my opinion, not made a valid and usable argument why we shouldn't cap wealth. And that's why you should vote for me, because I presented enough arguments that benefit society that supports capping wealth. So that's